Welcome to One Brothas Mind, and I am KD Smooth. Today we will question and challenge popular information and views from a B1 perspective, while we expose the real facts you need. We do this to strengthen your logical, critical, and discerning thinking skills. Because in today's world, hard choices are mandatory and they come with consequences. So you need all the information. And at One Brothas Mind, we do this from a B1 Yeshua the Christ followers perspective. Now, if you're not ready, you better get ready with Katie Smooth at One Brothas Mind. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, it's Katie Smooth coming back at you with a new report. Once again, family, we are going to provide information and cover an issue that you probably are not going to hear anywhere else. At least you're not hearing about it right now. Okay? So, before we begin, family, make sure you remember to please like, share, and subscribe to the One Brothas Mind YouTube channel. Turn on all notifications so you get all the alerts when we go live and upload new content. The issue we're going to cover tonight, family, is this one. They're coming. Yeah, family. They're coming. So we're going to chop it up on this one, family. Okay. Be clear, family, with the things that are going on with the economy here in the U.S. right now, the inflation, and all those things. White people, white renters, and our home buyers are moving back into the hood. Again, you probably ain't gonna hear about this, or you're not hearing about this from anyone but here on the One Brothas Mind YouTube channel, but you're probably going to be hearing about it soon everywhere else. Okay? At least those that are bold enough to report the real facts. Okay? First off, allow me to say this. To my white brothers and sisters out there that are moving back to the hood, welcome. Welcome. But I'll address that but in just a moment. The reality is, family, as you see on your screen, the sky-high rental prices in the U.S. now surpass pre-pandemic levels by more than 25%, according to Forbes. Okay? Also, according to Market Watch, it's now more expensive to own a home than to rent one. I'm going to say that again. According to Market Watch, it is now more expensive to own a home than to rent one than at any time since 2000. Yeah, y'all. These are the reasons why this is happening. Okay? To the white brothers and sisters out there, y'all greedy, cannibalistic, capitalistic system is also devouring, or now devouring, many of y'all too. The same one that has been devouring minorities, and specifically black people, for decades. It's now devouring many of y'all too. Home prices and rents are so high. Now let this sink in, family. Home prices and rents have gone so high that white people are moving back into the hood. White people are choosing to move next door to black people. Just let that marinate for a minute. Yeah. Especially, and I want to preface this, especially, it's not, well, let me say this. Especially this is happening now in black neighborhoods that are, the property values are 100,000 or less. Again, this is now happening in black neighborhoods where the current property values in the black neighborhoods are 100K or less. Previously, it's been happening for a while in black neighborhoods where the property values were greater than 100K. But now it's happening in black neighborhoods where the property values are 100,000 or less. 75,000. 60,000. The hood, y'all. In these neighborhoods that are, the properties are $75,000, $60,000, $50,000 in value, most of these homes in the black neighborhoods, or let's say many of them, are rentals. Okay? This is where, black people, we've been living and renting in these areas for decades, but white people know, the ones that are doing this, they know or are figuring out this is where you can find good, solid housing, nice houses to rent or own very cheaply. For a whole lot lower price than what's going on in the white neighborhoods or in the suburbs now. Again, white brothers and sisters, welcome. But don't think for a second y'all gonna bring y'all homeowners association BS, y'all Karen and Darren BS into the hood without a fight. That's my message to my white brothers and sisters. Don't dream about it. Because at this point, many in the black community are fully abreast and up to speed on the entire issue of gentrification and how y'all push us out and run us out of our own neighborhoods where we own the properties, where we live. Again, it's not going down without a fight. Okay? Also, black family, wake up. As you see these things happen, as you find yourself with new white neighbors, that's cool. As long as they ain't coming in to spark or to try to gentrify our neighborhoods and push us out. If they're coming just to live and deal with the inflation and what's going on in our economy right now, fine. No problem. Welcome. But most often, they have far greater plans than just that. Okay? Also, white family, be clear. And many of them know this, but black people run the hood, and y'all are surrounded. Just like when black people relocate into white enclaves and suburb areas, are mostly surrounded by white people, the same thing is true as y'all move in or move back into the hood. Okay? Again, if your plans are to just live, find affordable housing, and live and through this economic system right now, welcome. But if it's your normal gentrification BS, there will be a fight. Now to the black family, I have some warnings for y'all as you guys see this happening. Again, these warnings are specifically related to white brothers and sisters moving in with the whole idea of gentrifying the neighborhood. Okay? Pushing us out. Be clear, family, when they move in, the cops are nearby. The cops are going to all of a sudden start being seen driving up and down your block. Whereas we could call them and they would take forever to show up, if they showed up at all. Okay? Now they right around the corner. Skirt! What's going on? Where they at? Where are they? Let's get them. That's a part of how they clear us, how they clear black people out of our own neighborhoods, how they gentrify our neighborhoods, right? In addition, family, know this and prepare for this. Rental prices in the hood are going to go up when this happens in your hood. Okay? Also, if you see your property tax for the owners, if you see your property taxes going up just magically, you know the fix is in. One of the primary moves of gentrification. They just magically raise the property tax because some of our white brothers and sisters have moved into the neighborhood. And they have this backdoor agreement that they literally want to gentrify the neighborhood. They have a plan, an off the books plan. So they start using the city government and its powers to start magically just raising the property tax. The properties and the property tax values were at an all-time low when it was just black people living there in the hood. But all of a sudden, your property tax done tripled or quadrupled within a very short period of time. The only thing that has changed is white people with the plans on gentrifying the neighborhood have moved in. Okay? Don't get tricked by the whole notion that, well, if they moving in and the property taxes is going up, that means my property value going up. Don't get tricked with that. Don't fall for the okie doke. Initially, that's fine, but don't fall for the okie doke because it's not going to stop going up. And eventually, you will no longer be able to afford to rent or own the property that you currently own today in the hood. Don't lie to yourself. Eventually, it's going to get you too. Okay? Another thing that is done during gentrification, oftentimes without black people in the neighborhood even knowing that it's happening, is they allow new businesses, not existing businesses, but new businesses to operate tax-free. Yeah. Because they know majority, if not all of the new businesses are owned by our white brothers and sisters. Did you know that? I've been telling people this for years and people have been arguing with me, telling me I'm crazy. Whatever. Miss me with all that. And what I've been telling people is this. Property value in the U.S. is and always has been based on race. Or it's racist. Because you can have the exact same house, exact same floor plan, exact same square footage in a black neighborhood. That house, same size, everything, will be worth thousands and thousands of dollars more in value than the house in the black neighborhood. Now, you'll get most people try to argue, well, that's not racist. That's just the neighborhood is better. There's more things around and woody, all of that. But how and why does the neighborhood in the white community constantly get economic investment, therefore building itself up, but yet the black neighborhoods get economic isolation? and non-investment. This is what creates this gap, this chasm, this Grand Canyon of economic racism and direct warfare against black people, amongst all the other stuff that y'all already know about. Okay? Black family, understand exactly what gentrification is. It's the process by pushing long-term black residents out of their neighborhoods due to an influx of white money or investment in these same black neighborhoods. Okay? So, as you see this stuff happening, family, here in a moment, I'm going to share with you guys some solutions, some things that we have to do in an attempt to protect our neighborhoods or defend our neighborhoods, keep the properties that we own, help keep the rents at a reasonable rate in our neighborhood, etc., etc. There's some things I'm going to share with you here in a moment as solutions. How to fight this, okay? But remember, white people are directly or indirectly using money from slavery and the systematic white supremacist laws and unwritten codes ever since slavery to do this gentrification. The wealth that the white community had, majority of it came from slavery and all of the other crap since. Okay? So they're still beating us over the head. First they did slavery. And they did all the other list of things that I'm not even going to go into to black people in the U.S. that they're still doing to this day. And then they're turning around and using gentrification to beat us over the head again. Economically. But most white people are going, well, I'm just investing. I'm just trying to use my money to make money. It's not that simple. What's really happening is, like I said, they're using the wealth that the white community has accumulated from slavery and everything since at the expense of black people to then come into black neighborhoods when they have purposely economically isolated our black neighborhoods and not invested in our neighborhoods while we live there. Then they want to come in and spend money and economically invest as they move in. Okay? Do you see that? There's only real investment and wealth put into the black neighborhoods when they come in or as they're coming in. That's how it works. If they're not coming in, there's no economic investment. There's no new companies bringing jobs, especially family, sustaining high wage paying jobs into the black neighborhoods. You would think there would be, because While if the neighborhood is predominantly black, all of the property values are low or they're at their lowest. So companies can, on these lots where there's all these abandoned jumbo grocery stores and things like that, companies can easily and extremely cheaply buy these properties and build their facilities or warehouses or manufacturing plants right on these locations, right smack dab in the hood. Explain to me why that does not happen. Pretty much every time you watch the news and they report a new company bringing a new facility or warehouses and jobs into the city or state, pretty much every time it's always somewhere way, way away from the black neighborhoods, even though the property in the black neighborhoods is either equally as cheap or cheaper. So miss me with that argument. Okay? Like I said, they're using the wealth, this stolen wealth, still to this day, and waging economic war by doing this against black people, still to this day. Okay? Again, economic isolation in our neighborhoods. The streets is all jacked up. That's why you drive in. I'll put it this way. We all pay property tax. Our taxes are supposed to be paying for the upkeep of a lot of infrastructure within the city. But you go in the black neighborhoods, the streets are all jacked up. We don't have chuck holes. We have moon craters on our streets. Meanwhile, you can drive whichever direction you want to out into the suburbs, into the white neighborhoods, or into your new downtown area. All the streets are freshly repaved and fixed and smooth. And they're constantly being repaired and fixed. Whereas the streets in the black neighborhood, they go decades before they even dream about actually repaving the whole street. What they normally do is come by and try to put some little loose asphalt or blacktop rocks, smash them into the moon craters that's all down our streets. And roll over them with that little big metal smasher thing and keep it. If they do that, most of the time they don't even do that. They just put them in there and smash them down with the tire truck that's holding the little asphalt chunks that they're putting in there. And so all that happens is after they fill up that moon crater or those moon craters, within a few days with cars driving on it, the little it sticks to of the moon crater that was originally there at the time. Especially when we don't know or see as we're approaching these moon craters, they're tearing up the rims on our tires constantly. That's why this stuff is happening if you didn't know, family. They're taking our tax dollars out of our neighborhoods and using it to maintain, in this example, the streets in the suburban areas. Again, waging economic war against black communities and black people. So You got to understand whether you black, you definitely have to know this and understand this if you're black, but also to the white brothers and sisters, y'all have to understand how y'all community gets down. They don't teach y'all this stuff in school. They teach a bunch of lies or just don't say nothing about most of the satanic stuff that y'all community does. That's another reason why they're breaking their neck to try to get rid of something that is not taught in schools called CRT, but really they're trying to reduce the history, the real history that is currently taught. Because CRT is not taught. It's just they want to reduce what little history about white supremacy and racism in the U.S. even more. Okay? Again, family, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to One Brothas Mind. Okay? So, to my white listeners, be clear. If you're not a white supremacist or racist or satanic, if you don't support the continuous economic warfare that is being waged against black people, black neighborhoods, here's what you need to do. First, demand reparations now for slavery. Reparations to black descendants of slaves, the foundational black Americans. Demand that now. How? One, by voting for candidates who have that agenda, who are going to enact that law or take that action once they're in office. Okay? 2, contend with your family members, your friends and family that don't support it. Contend with them, fight with them, not physically, but explain to them how this sin, this evil has to be corrected if this country is going to survive. Okay? Also, for those of you that are in positions of so-called authority or city authority, in elected positions, you have to fight for economic investment into black communities equally. Okay? That has to be a conscious effort. In fact, it has to be emphasized. When new businesses and companies want to build and bring warehouses or facilities, you have to say, no, y'all, if you get one over in the white suburban area, the next one has to go into the black community. If you don't like it, you can't bring your company to our city. Full stop. Okay? You have to do things like that if you're not a white supremacist or racist or satanic when it comes to your view and how you feel black people should be treated here in the U.S. Okay? Again, this whole situation, especially now, in response to the higher rent and home prices, this inflation, economic isolation is why the black neighborhoods, or economic isolation is what has choked the wealth out of the black neighborhoods that you are looking to move in as a renter, or to buy into as an owner, as an investment, as a part of trying to gentrify the neighborhood. Okay? Once the wealth in the black neighborhood is gone, once it's been isolated and removed out, no investment has happened, the ownership begins to diminish. The property ownership as well, which further exacerbates the wealth leaving the neighborhood. And then once that gets to a certain point, once those effects have boiled to a certain point, here they come, y'all. And like I said, magically, new economic investments, they just magically start happening. Businesses with jobs start popping up. Warehouses, all that just magically, the streets start getting paved and fixed all of a sudden. Wait a minute, where was this the last 20, 30, 40 years? When it was not primarily black people that live in this neighborhood that were paying taxes? Be clear, family. The forces of gentrification are the same forces driving inequality in the U.S. Be clear on that. So again, family, here at One Brothas Mind, we try to always offer solutions. How, black family, do we fight and stop or prevent gentrification of the neighborhoods that we still have or still are remaining, especially with this new massive push because of inflation of white people or white family members running back to become new renters right in the middle, smack dab in the middle of the hood that they would not even drive through. It wasn't even on their mind 20, 30 years ago. If you mention a street in the hood to them in a conversation, they'd be like, what? Where is that? And then when they find out, like, hell no, I don't know nothing about that. Never mind, change the subject. Now, all of a sudden, their rents have doubled and more in the suburban areas. Oh, now here they come back, sliding back, want to rent the houses in the black communities because the rents are cheaper. Yeah. So we're going to try to provide a few solutions, family, some things that we can do to help prevent or stop gentrification from happening in our neighborhoods. The number one solution is reparations now. Okay? Reparations now or no vote. We only vote for people, for candidates. This is locally and nationally. We only vote for candidates that are pushing and are doing things to actually provide our reparations now. And what I mean by that specifically, I want to make sure I'm clear on this. I'm not saying vote for somebody that said, yeah, we're going to pay reparations now before they get elected or during their campaign. I'm not saying that. I'm saying for the people that have already been elected, the ones that are already in office, we as the black community have to make sure we let them know we will not vote for you in the coming election or for your re-election if you don't pay our reparations now while you're in office. That's how you get around their lies and their trickerations in regards to their campaign promises. But y'all should have learned that by now with your boy Biden. Remember, he sat up there. Somebody should have slapped the hell out of him, talking about you ain't black if you don't vote for Biden. Man, somebody should have slapped the hell out of him. And the black people that was stupid enough to keep voting for these fools. Okay? If we vote as a solid voting block, which we already do, but vote with the purpose of getting our reparations in the way that I just explained, whatever party is in office, they will know, hands down, the easiest way for them to be reelected is to give us what we demand, and then we'll vote them back in. It's just that simple. And then both parties will be breaking their neck trying to give us the tangible things that make our lives better. Okay? Another thing that is being reported in black neighborhoods that many black owners have begun to not rent or sell properties to white people. Is this wrong or protecting the black neighborhood? Trying to keep it black? And if you say it's wrong, ain't that what white people been doing for centuries to us? To black people? Yeah. Can you say redlining? And all the other stuff? Just go down the list. Okay? Another part of the solution is, again, locally or nationally, you definitely, especially locally, you have to vote, black family, in our local elections. And we have to vote for people who are championing anti-gentrification platforms. Okay? They're running on an anti-gentrification platform. Vote for them. If you don't know where they stand on gentrification issues, they do all these little public meetings and get-togethers to talk to the so-called constituents. Go. Get on the mic. Ask them directly. Do you support gentrification? Or do you stand with anti-gentrification policies and practices for our city? Put them on the spot. Make them answer. Okay? Then you know who to vote for. Be clear, family, one of the reasons why this is so important, because the local elections, this is why, or this is the way they are always, wait, let me say that again. This is why they are always redistricting our city's maps, your city's maps. Dang near every couple of years, they're redrawing the lines around the areas of your city and what defines the voting area 1, voting area number 2, voting area number 3. Especially when they are dealing with areas that are where prominently black people live. They're constantly just literally drawing a line, like putting a highway through, splitting up the black community 2, 3, 4 different ways, and adding those splits to predominantly white surrounding areas or district map areas, because this is how they dilute our vote. Okay, family? This is how they do. Our area, our neighborhood is supposed to be one voting block. All of us, and we're supposed to have the power of electing, therefore, who we want to elect, who is representing our needs and issues for our neighborhood, just like they get to do. But again, they chop our neighborhoods up like pizza. They slice it up like pizza and split our vote, the black vote, up into a bunch of different pieces, and then add those pieces to the surrounding white voting areas to dilute our vote and remove our voting power. That's the whole purpose of redistricting. With the one exception, they also do this to move back and forth the power of areas that primarily vote Republican or primarily vote Democratic. It's another way they just literally continue to run this whole voting scam they got and been running for years on everybody. Okay? And it's primarily the Republicans that are doing the redistricting. Because there's literally, if they leave all the maps alone or put them back the way they was, they can't win the elections. There are not enough of them in their suburban areas to win the city and state elections. That's why they do that. So they have to chop up, dice up, and trickerate the voting areas to dilute the votes they don't want to happen and strengthen the votes that they want. Okay, family? Another solution is to have people in office that's enacting and strengthening rent control laws. Okay? Things to help reduce or minimize landlords from being able to just skyrocket new rental rates just whenever they feel like it. You know, there's one thing, everybody understands as you, over time, the landlord has the right to increase the rent, but to what percentage or by how much? There needs to be rent control laws there. Okay? That says you could only, rents can only be increased by a certain percentage over a certain period of time. Actually, because those things are not in place in most areas, this is why this situation is happening. And it's not just happening to white family members, it's happening to all of us. White, black, red, brown, purple, yellow, green. Rents are being more than doubled. Okay? Everywhere. Primarily because there's no rent control laws in effect. Okay? Another solution is, again, taking land off the speculative market and using community land trust. This is another way to reserve land for economic investment in the black communities. Okay? So be clear, this is happening. I hate for anybody's rent to be increased or over doubled and all this, and it's forcing people to relocate to anybody, white, black, brown, yellow, red, green, or purple. That's a traumatic thing to have happen to you. I don't wish that on nobody. But as we know, as the wrench is being squeezed on our white family, our white brothers and sisters economically, intentionally or not, they start stepping on our necks in the black community in various ways, more and more. Okay? So don't be surprised, family, if you wake up tomorrow, you come out and you meet your new neighbor. Hello. This is something that most people ain't even talking about. Mainstream media ain't mentioning this. They're just saying people are having to relocate, but they're not explaining to this detail. Okay? I mean, on a personal, I'll share with you, I literally, today, on the day I'm making this video, I just met my new neighbor, my new white neighbor. A nice lady. And this is next door to a property my family has owned for more than 40 years in a black community. Okay? Over 40 years ago, when my family moved in, when my father purchased this property that we owned, that we still own to this day, my family was only the second black family that moved into the neighborhood. The neighborhood at that time was all white. And very quickly, as more and more black families moved in, y'all already know, white families moved out. Why? Because most white people, this is the truth, white listeners, most of y'all don't want to live next door to us. That's a problem y'all got to deal with and seek to fix. Oh, be clear, they will. They'll move in the neighborhood, into the hood, and live next to us when they don't have no other choice. And for many families today, due to this inflation, due to the rents more than doubling in most areas around the country, many of them don't have any other choice. So that's it, family. I just wanted to chop this up with y'all and explain to y'all what's happening, what's probably about to start happening, what you're about to start seeing next door to you, in your apartment community, in your neighborhood, where your houses are, whatever. If it's the hood, keep a lookout. It's about to start happening, if it hasn't already happened. Okay? Y'all let me know what you think in the comments. Let's chop it up. Okay? How do y'all feel about this? Is it a good thing or bad thing? Let me know. And this concludes this broadcast for One Brothas Mind. We thank you for joining us and as a part of the new Black media. B1 choices are mandatory and being on code is required. But never fear. Yeshua the Christ is with you always. Shalom.